And welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, prideofdetroit.com, Pride of Detroit on Twitter, Pride of Detroit on Facebook, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. Search for Pride of Detroit on YouTube. Oh man, so many places to find us. We're everywhere. You can't escape us now. We're just hunting you down like a slasher in a Halloween film. Let's see, where else? Oh, right, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. You can find the podcast there. Download it. Give us good reviews on there. Tell us all how I don't know anything I know about football, because I am Chris Perfett, your adequate host at Chris Perfett, Perfett. Back in the saddle again. Me and my guy Jeremy here, the fearless leader at Detroit Online. We did our post-game show on Twitch earlier. A lot of you guys, over 300 of you guys tuned in for that. And that was a lot of id, we'll just say, about this game. We are doing the post-game show, the podcast here, for Falcons, Lions 23, Falcons 22. And we'll get to how that broke down in a second. But as I said, that show, Jeremy, was all id. This show, a little more super ego, I believe.
Maybe.
But
maybe.
Still quite a bit of id.
I'm bringing some id. Listen, we need to bring the energy a little bit up right now, Chris, because the Lions are 3-3. We just witnessed an incredible game. And yes, there are problems, and we're going to get to all of them. And they got a little bit of luck along their way. But listen, we watch these games to enjoy them. We watch them to have fun. And today was fun. Maybe it wasn't fun for about 55 minutes, maybe even longer than that. But that last minute was vintage Lions football, and I'm all smiles right now. I'm happy. I don't care what it means for the rest of the future right now, because Lions are 3-3. They just pulled off a thoroughly enjoyable win, and we got to see some theatrics in the making.
I don't know about fun, but I will say it was a funny game, and I enjoy the funny, even for those minutes you might not have enjoyed. This was a funny game, back to front, with a proper bloody ending. And an unhappy grin for the Atlanta Falcons, who continue to be a dumpster fire. Let's bring in the third man, Ryan Matthews, at Ryan_POD. Ryan, how you feeling after this? What's in the mind of the Rock God? What's in the mind of you and your friend Bovada King 69?
You know, there's so many things tick-tocking in my head right now, and I'm really glad that I'm getting the podcast to put all that stuff out there. I'm going to have some things to say about the game. You know, Jeremy's all amped about it. Sure, I'm excited, but there are some things that I really want to get into about this game specifically. And
you guys are no fun. You guys are no fun. No fun at all.
Fun. I'm very fun. Listen, any game that involves a man falling down accidentally for a touchdown and everyone agreeing that was a bad thing is funny.
Sure.
It's funny. This ending sequence was so damn weird in so many places. As I said, I want to explain how we got here because I don't even understand it. So this game was back and forth, and the Lions and the Falcons both had a lot of problems on both ends. For the Lions, the offensive line looked like they were letting the blitz come home quite a bit in this game, right? And for the Falcons, what would you say the problem would be for the Falcons, Jeremy? What was their Achilles heel in this game?
I mean, besides getting in their own way, I mean, defensively, they weren't great. I mean, I think both teams offensively were kind of doing whatever they wanted until they got in their own way. And so for the Falcons, sometimes that meant maybe not converting towards the end of their drives. For the Lions, it meant,
giving the ball to Adrian Peterson.
Giving the ball to Adrian Peterson on 3rd and 4th and 1 and seeing what happens.
A lot of failed fourth down conversions for the Falcons as well, I've got to say, which was interesting. Ryan, that end of that game, like, wow. I don't know what to say was going on there.
I mean, I still don't really know what to say about the end of that game, because you have Todd Gurley scoring on himself, essentially. That was the biggest mistake that they could have made, and they did it. And they gave Stafford too much time. You know, Jeremy said this is a vintage Lions game. This was a vintage Stafford game.
Yes.
You know, he was clutch in every way possible. He was doing the little things. He was, on the 4th and 1 play to Adrian Peterson, he knew that there was an extra defender on the field, and he got that snap off. I mean, Stafford was doing the things that Stafford does, And this was undoubtedly, just because he threw for 340 yards, that's not the big takeaway. He was making the big plays when he needed to make them.
Kenny Galladay was making those plays too, and I think we're gonna in Penthouse Doghouse we absolutely are going to be talking about Kenny G, because we're talking vintage Megatron. Like, I hate the Babytron name, screw you, man, sir, but those were Megatron type catches, going up, just bullying Atlanta defenders to get that ball.
I mean, you're right. It was a Megatron-esque performance. I can't look at the ending of this game and think of anything other than the Cowboys, snap game or, fake spike game, because, in that game, Calvin Johnson comes down with a huge catch that gets him down to the 1 yard line. This game, Kenny Galladay gets him down to the 11 yard line with a big 29-yard grab. Both, then the chaos ensues from there, right? Like, in Dallas, everyone's running downfield except for Riley. Riley! This game, everyone's hustling down. Someone bowls over Kerryon Johnson from the Falcons as Lions are panicking. And then, of course, the red flag comes out. Not really red flag, since it comes out from the booth, but then challenge time. And we're all curious. We're all like, oh my God, what's going to happen to the clock? There's 3 seconds left. Is the 10-second runoff going to happen? No one knows, because
no, it wasn't.
But yes,
spoiler alert, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Instead, the Lions got their one shot. They took it. Hawkinson had it, and we'll talk a little bit more about Hawkinson later too. But it was a surreal ending to the game, and Kenny Galladay had a big part of it. Obviously, Matthew Stafford had a big part of it, and Todd Gurley had a pretty big part in it too.
Yeah, I have some differences, and I'm going to get into it in my takeaway on why this is a little different from the Cowboys game, because you did, not to spoil it, but Todd Gurley set up the feast for everyone here. And it's a weird thing, right? Like, Ryan, what's been kind of the dumb fan thing that even we sometimes delve into sometimes, when the clock is ticking down within 2 minutes and we're like, just let the other team score so we can answer. Just let them score so we can get more time on the clock, right? That's what Todd Gurley was out there. He was the encapsulation, because he was trying not to score, get less time to the Lions, and he couldn't do it.
Literally falling over himself, and it was the one time that Lions fans will ever be happy that Will Harris couldn't make a tackle.
Will Harris, that we just talked about in the mailbag too. That was interesting. And heads up by, I'm sorry, I'm running on very low sleep right now. Who was the one who had the defender who had the heads up to not try to, just not stop Todd Gurley?
I mean, it honestly looked like the rest of the defense. Like, they were giving that to him. I think the Lions knew that was the strat, is you got to let him score. And so they gave him all the room in the world they gave him the rope to hang himself with, and he gladly did.
When you're in that position, do you want your defenders coming behind the player and the defender push him into the end zone?
I mean, why not?
I think that might have been that would have been a flag.
Carry him into the end zone.
Yeah.
Would that have been a flag? Maybe, I don't know.
No,
but yeah, there were some.
The last time a Lions player picked up another player, it was A'Shaun Robinson picking up Ezekiel Elliott, and that was a penalty.
That was a penalty for a different reason.
Yeah, there were some weird penalties in this game, and we'll get to that here soon. But I think this is a good time to transition into our takeaways. I think we have the breadth of the game. We're not really giving credence too much to the beginning, but I mean, again, the beginning was just two teams faffing about. They didn't really know what they were doing. A lot of punting, a lot of, as Jeremy said, getting in their own way, some touchdowns, some turnover on yards, missed field goal from Prater later in the game too. But I think this is a good point to get into our takeaways. So who's up first?
You want to jump in there, Ryan?
Yeah, let me kick things off. And I don't want to be stuck as the downer. Maybe, I don't know, wasn't intended, but my big takeaway from this game is that the offensive play calling is just that. It's offensive. It is so bad. It is driving me absolutely bonkers each and every game. I went back and I kind of rewatched the game on a speed through. Obviously not watching on all 22 film or anything, but that combined with combing through the play-by-play on ESPN, which is such a just
great
fool's
tool.
errand. Yeah. But the number of series that went run, pass to end a series was only one. So, I mean, a lot of Lions fans who are sick of the run, pass, this game wasn't about that. This game was about the most predictable plays on second and 7 and more. There were 3 runs on 2nd and 7 or more, and all 3 of them were, guess who? Adrian Peterson. All 3 of them. When he's in the game, he's in there to run the football. It's either they're running the football or they're probably going to do play action. It's like it's one of the two. And most oftentimes they're gonna run the football because they don't want Adrian Peterson pass blocking.
Yep. And
it's just so painfully obvious. I don't want to heap the blame on Adrian Peterson. He's not being put in positions to succeed. And I know Jeremy's laughing because that train is going off. But all I'm going to say is that the offensive play calling, my big takeaway from this game, the Lions wouldn't have been in the position they were put in if they would have just been less predictable, if they would have used DeAndre Swift more. It's really maddening to even just look at the box score because you can see it during the game. But you had Adrian Peterson, who led the team with 11 carries and got 29 yards. Again, I'm not really holding that against Adrian Peterson. He is who he is at this point. But DeAndre Swift has 9 carries for 27 yards. I know that's not a whole hell of a lot better, but the guy obviously has more juice, and you just need to use your juicy players.
Juicy.
Yeah, you bring up a couple interesting points. Let me get right in here real quick. Second down, like we all focus on 3rd down and 4th down, and yeah, there were some bad plays on 3rd and 4th down. There was drop passes, poor play calls, 4th down conversion or lack of conversion on the goal line was huge. But second down seemed like such a wasted down this entire game.
Always. Every time.
And it wasn't even just like 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8. I remember there was a 2nd and 2 out there. Trot out Adrian Peterson, lose 2 or 3 yards. 2nd and 2 is such a gift to the offense. Because,
should be an automatic pass.
Yeah. I mean, you can go deep. You can do play action. You can run the ball. But just once you trot out Adrian Peterson, it's such a big tell. And it's crazy because you're right. Sometimes they run play action. But I feel like the number of times Adrian Peterson gets a touch when he's out there has to be somewhere around 70-80%. Like, it's crazy.
And it's a handoff.
And it's a handoff. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing, too, Jeremy, in my comb through of the play-by-play was that those were just the runs that run like 2nd and 7, 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9. That wasn't the pass short. There's so many incomplete short passes on 2nd down when I'm more upset when they run the ball on 2nd and 2 than when they run the ball on 3rd and 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's infuriating.
Yes.
I just don't think there's much left in the tank for Adrian Peterson right now. And to be honest, we kind of knew that was going to be the case. And it's been the case for any kind of running back at his age at this point. Like, great. He started the year strong. That's fantastic. But I can't tell you anything he did out there on the field that Kerryon Johnson couldn't have done. And Kerryon Johnson at least can pass block out there. And he was very phenomenal pass blocking today. And I think, like, going forward between Kerryon Johnson and DeAndre Swift, I think you're good there. But I'm not a fan right now of what's going on with Adrian Peterson. And as you say, it makes it very predictable. And I hate to bag on him in the middle of a win, but this was a very frustrating game that we would be mounting these same frustrations if Stafford doesn't get that ball home in one throw. So I feel like it's still fair to voice those frustrations. But Jeremy, I know you have a positive takeaway.
I do. But really quick on Adrian Peterson, one thing to keep in mind now going forward, and I'm not going to make this a long thing, Bo Scarborough just got activated from injured reserve. Mm-hmm. What does his role become? Is there a chance Bo Scarborough takes over for Adrian Peterson? I don't know. Something to think about. But yes, I do have a positive about this game, and we talked about it a little bit already, and it's Matthew freaking Stafford. I've been hard on the guy for the first 5 games of the season. I've been hard on him for poor pocket presence, inaccuracies, maybe missing on some wide open guys, not seeing them. This was as close to a Matthew Stafford flawless performance as we've seen in a while. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely throwing the ball in the right places, finding open receivers at times. I wish they would have given him the ball a little bit more. I wish, unlike, it seems like the Falcons jumped away from the running game early in this game. They saw it wasn't working. They're like, all right, let's just put it in Matt Ryan's hands. The Lions were a little bit more stubborn. Probably took them until the second half to realize, hey, maybe stop running Adrian Peterson. Let's maybe put it in your franchise quarterback's hand. And they did, and it started working. He found Kenny Golladay. He found Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones is back, everybody. He's off the
Yay!
someone dialed a hotline, saw him on the side
Take
of a
him
milk
off the
carton,
milk carton.
and
Take
he's
him off.
back. And so Matthew Stafford was just phenomenal, and that last drive was just absolutely what we've grown accustomed to seeing with him. I mean, that it felt vintage 2016 season where he's just you knew once they got to midfield, like this team has a real shot. And yes, it was a little bit methodical. It was tough with no timeouts. But once that bomb to Kenny Golladay was there, you're just like, okay, he's probably going to do this. And there's not enough I can say about that last play of the game. That last play of the game was so good about all the things that we've been missing from Stafford, the way he navigated in that pocket, because it collapsed real quick. If you watch the replay and watch what happened to Tyrell Crosby on the edge, it was rough. He got torpedoed, and it almost took out Matthew Stafford's legs. And so he's got his eyes downfield. No one's open. You're looking where he's looking. They give you that end zone angle. No one's open. He slides in the pocket, slides barely by Taylor Decker, buys some extra time, waits until TJ Hawkinson breaks open, scores a game-winning touchdown. I can't give enough credit to Matthew Stafford for this game, because without his kind of performance, I don't even know if the Lions ever even get a shot at the end of the game.
Yeah, he just wasn't good for a lot of this season, and to be honest, when he did take sacks, like you could clearly tell it's because a block wasn't picked up on a defender or something else broke down, but it wasn't usually on him at the end of the day. I'm noticing some of his old mechanical problems are coming back, but at least he is mitigating damage. He's not creating damage, I should say. Nothing from Stafford is like, oh, hey, yeah, oh no, that's a terrible decision. Maybe I have some problems with the sidearm still because I'm picky, but hey, man, you can't argue with the results right now, man. You cannot argue with the results when you're getting almost 9.5 yards average. As I said, oh, God, some of those sacks he was taking were kind of scary because Falcons were just flying in, but he only took 2 sacks on the day. He kind of avoided, I think he took something like 6 quarterback hits though. So, I mean, he got banged around, but he kept going. And I guess that's my worry always is like, hey, we saw him getting taped up and I'm like, oh no, what's going to happen? But you power through it, man. You power through it. You get the win you worry about next week.
And the deep ball was back. The deep ball, the thing that we loved last year, it was back. And Next Gen Stats, I'm going to throw it up on here for the Twitch people watching on Twitch live. Next Gen Stats shows his accuracy based on how deep the throw is. Anything 10 yards or deeper, so 10 to 30 plus, he was, I believe, 10 of 12 if you add that up, maybe even more than that. No, he was 13 of 15. Throwing more than 10 yards downfield, including that game-winning touchdown. Over, it looks like about 230 yards just on those deep passes. That's what we've been missing from Stafford, and I'm so relieved to see it back. I just want to see it earlier in the game.
Should I get on to my pick? Do you have any thoughts there, Ryan?
I mean, he was Matthew frickin' Stafford today, and
it's
glad.
Case closed.
It's good to have him back.
Yeah. So what I would say about this is I'm going to be looking towards overall narrative and how the Lions kind of lucked out on this. And that's in that, look, the Lions are now back to 3-3. They have gotten to the point in the schedule where they are beating up on teams that we assume they will beat up on. And in the case of the Falcons, I know you and Ryan, Jeremy, you guys talked to Jana Thompson about this, and you said a lot is about how these two teams are doppelgangers of each other. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. But the problem is someone had to win. What's that? You're pointing to someone.
I was doing the Spider-Man meme. Ryan wasn't looking.
Okay. Yeah. No. Doppelgangers. But someone had to win at the end of the day. Both these teams are making a hell of a lot of mistakes. Both these teams were really rolling the dice against the refs in several places. I will give credit to the coaching staff in this. Some of those challenges were really ballsy. I did not think the call to get 12 men was going to work. And a lot of that does rely on if the refs are feeling generous to really review their work or, how stubborn they are. And you got a non-stubborn crew out there because you also had, some looks on a few other, on a few other things when it comes to pass completions. that worked, and sometimes that worked against you. Like I mean, I remember Okuda bouncing the ball off his feet, and that helped out the Falcons. But or even better, when you had the review, like you guys were all sweating the 10-second runoff, and I mean, if that play didn't like stand on the field, we're in problems. Either way, though, there was some luck involved. And again, a lot of that started with Todd Gurley falling down. But guess what? You need some luck sometimes to win football games. And in a lot of cases, and a lot of times, luck has been running against the Lions. Like it ran against DeAndre Swift, in week 1. A lot of these come down to coin flips, really weird things that have to happen in football to work. And a lot of it was kind of instant redemption in several ways. TJ Hawkinson, the hero of the day, catching the game-tying touchdown. He almost blew it by not stepping out of bounds on that very same drive when the Lions only had a minute to go. And thankfully guys got up to the line of scrimmage and were able to spike it. This was a game on barbed wires. And all I will say is this: don't get used to that too much. I love that the Lions won. It was exciting. It was fun. It was funny. Let me, though, have some reservations for next week, but at the same time, I'm going to enjoy this one. I'm going to enjoy this one like hell. I'm not being a Debbie Downer, but I just want to also be realistic while also being like, hey, no, this is great. But I also am not going to say, all right, this is the time of the year where the season for the Lions turns it around or nothing like that. Kind of need to see somewhat because the Falcons got in their way a lot too. It took 2 to tango in this game.
Yeah. I mean, no question about it. And these 50, we talk about it all the time on this podcast. 50-50 ball games are going to normally bounce 50-50. I see a lot of people already saying, well, the Lions could be 4-2 if it wasn't for DeAndre Swift. Yeah, well, they'd also be 2-4 if it wasn't for Todd Gurley. So
yeah. Or any of those calls at any point. If the refs decide, no, you know what, that wasn't 12 men on the field. That,
Yeah, that would have made a difference.
And the Lions don't win last week without DeAndre Swift. So, I mean, do you want to have DeAndre Swift on your team, making not making one catch, or do you want to have him on your team making, basically a victory happen last week?
Hey, and by the way, even on that same throw that Stafford made too, hell, he dodged 2 almost dead to right sacks on him as well.
Yep.
He got away.
It's game of inches.
That much of a difference. And hey, Matt Prater, he misses a field goal earlier, instant redemption on the next field goal, and then continues that redemption into that extra point. If he misses that extra point, which got backed up because of the unsportsmanlike, we could be in an overtime. Who knows what the hell happens there? Because Matt Ryan was having his way with the defense near the end of the game too. Yep. So I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is that the chaos rolled the dice. We have a win. I'm not willing to make it into a bigger, larger statement about what these Lions are right now. And I hate to do that because, it feels like every year, Jeremy, we say, hey, we don't know what this team is, and we're 7 weeks into an NFL season. But at the same time, there's also still a lot of football to go.
Yeah, a lot can change. Even what we think we know about some of these teams might change, and injuries happen, and all sorts of things. Everyone's probably looking at that Tampa Bay game against the Bucs, and what if some major injuries happen then? We just don't know, and so the Lions have given themselves an opportunity to be lucky, to be competitive, to play important games into November, hopefully into December too, and that's the positive I'm taking away. We're 3-3. It may have not been pretty at any point in this season except for Jacksonville, but I'm loving it.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess my point is I'm not taking away all of our doom and gloom that we were doing when this team was 1-3. I think that was all warranted, and I think still some of those reservations are out there. But we said back then, this team needs these wins coming up if they want to, keep afloat. And they're getting them right now. Suddenly that game against the Colts could make a hell of a world of difference, Ryan.
Yeah. As you already said, Chris, the Lions are beating teams that they needed to beat. And they're doing it by the skin of their teeth in this one. But at the end of the day, a win's a win. It's much better to be 3-3 than it is 2-4. It gives everybody something to look forward to next week. It's going to be a real big test next week. I think a lot of people are overlooking the Colts just because they've had a couple of so-so performances, but their defense is legit, I think. And they're coming off a bye week too. So That's gonna be it's gonna be an interesting matchup next week. It's nothing that you can look forward to and kind of, you know how we've been doing that, like, we'll look at the next 7 games, like, and we do it in 1 week, and then by the next week everybody looks different. Yep. So
yeah, it's I would use the words Jekyll and Hyde, and a lot of, I think, as we look at Penthouse Doghouse in the next segment, I think a lot of these players were Jekyll and Hyde, and that's going to make Penthouse Doghouse really interesting to do. I think that's a good point. Do we have any final comments before we go to break? No. Okay, great, fantastic. We're going to take a break. Play a little grab ass with Twitch chat. Again, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. Follow on there to see when we go live, usually after the game, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we're just going to have some fun here. But we'll be right back. We're going to do Penthouse Doghouse, tell you about several players who, stock is up. Several players who were like, what were you really doing here? And I think for me, for a lot of my Penthouse players, like, it's going to be a mixed bag because, as I said, the key phrase to use for this game was instant redemption. I'll explain when we come back on the Pride of Detroit POD cast.
All right.
I had to get that bug out of my throat. Sorry.
First things first, got to give Lefty Detroit some love for the 10 gifted subs that, again, scared the bejesus out of me. Nice little jump out of me. Appreciate the love, Lefty. You've been obviously one of the bigger supporters of the channel, so we appreciate that. Also, someone just redeemed my mozzarella sticks t-shirt, so let me put that on. And while I'm doing chat, you're going to take a commercial break. Don't worry, you won't miss any of the podcasts, but if you're not subscribed to this channel, you are going to see a quick ad. If you are subscribed to the channel, Ryan and Chris are about to say something. I don't know what, but they're about to say something really interesting, and you're going to miss it because you're not subscribed to the channel.
And you don't get to watch Jeremy put on a shirt.
Yeah. All right. Be right back.
Or undress.
Smoke weed
I was
every
just seeing
day.
where Ruby was in the background. We actually held him. We actually held him up during the post game show, and he's Circle of Life and all that.
Your big chungus.
My big chungus cat. Yeah. Damn, man, this game was weird. Actually, you know what? Here, I saw a great question in chat we can do. Can we talk about how bad the commentators were arguing the 2 hits on Stafford were penalties? Yeah, I know you have a lot of problems with this guy. What's his name?
Chris Myers.
Chris Myers. Let's talk about how many times this guy thought something was a touchdown without waiting for the signal from the bleeping refs.
Chris Myers was so bad that, and the Lions fans have had the misfortune of getting him multiple times this year. Chris Myers was the worst he's ever been today, and it was so bad that, like, I had to get on Twitter and, like, literally just, like, file each and every dumb thing he said. On the Lions' last drive when they were down 22-16, he started talking about Matt Prater's career-long field goal.
Yeah, why? We needed 6 points. You needed 6 points to tie it. Field goal ain't gonna do that, Bubba.
He says it, and then right afterwards he realizes, like, the score of the game.
Yeah, I think Greg Jennings corrects him. Yeah.
And then Chris Myers immediately goes, "Prater's big leg won't be any help right now." It's like, okay, thank you, you freaking dingus. But, like, he on the very first drive of the game, he said Isaac Nauta was T.J. Hawkinson because Nauta caught that pass, and he goes, "A catch by T.J. Hawkinson."
To be fair, though, there is the number issue with the Lions jerseys, and 88 looks a lot like 89.
By the way, these gray jerseys suck so much. I'm sorry.
I don't like
T.J. Hawkinson doesn't have a tribal band tattoo around his arm,
well,
so
you expect national announcers to know that?
Yes.
Well, I can't expect them to see that from the perch in Mercedes-Benz, but.
All right.
I don't care. How much does Chris Myers get paid to do play-by-play? He should know shit like this, okay? Then the other thing he did was he thought the Calvin Ridley touchdown, he's like, "Stop this!" And then, like, it was clear that he didn't get both feet in. Like, even on, like, watching the game live, I was like, well, that's not a catch. And then he goes, "Yeah." And then he was big on the Kenny Galladay catch. He was like, "Oh, I don't know if he got his other foot." Dude, clearly got 2 feet in on the Kenny Galladay catch. Chris Myers was brutal. If he gets assigned to another game, there's no audio that's happening. There's no audio. I'll play spooky tunes. I don't know.
You know what we should do? Because I was thinking about this. One of us should do play-by-play for the Lions games ourselves. Like, just do Like, I know we can broadcast it on Twitch. We obviously can't put the game on, but set a point for someone to, sync up or like basically doing a radio. So
I'll be
Super
honest,
Squares, dude.
if I tried to do it, I would suck at it. I know that it's probably really hard.
My dad has a great story
great
about
at it.
how he was at a baseball game one time and he sat next to someone who was blind, and their partner like got up to go get food, and the blind person asked him to like describe the action on the field, and I think there was a home run, and he just kind of let out an "oh," and the person immediately went, "That's not helpful." He realized then it's like, oh yeah, no, radio, doing play-by-play for radio is really hard. I've done some like softball play-by-play in my undergrad, so I could give it a spin, but man, football, I respect Dan Miller because that guy immediately puts it out there how many wide in a certain area, and I mean, you don't have to do a lot of that with TV, but for radio it's
I'm just saying, I basically do color commentary every single game on twitch.tv/supersquares. I know what I'm talking about. I certainly won't mispronounce Lions players' names or call TJ Hawkinson Isaac Nauta. Just saying. If you guys are complaining about it, just sync it up.
There's color, but I'm talking play-by-play, and that's.
But like you said, you're watching on TV. You don't need play-by-play. You can see what's happening. Just get some color commentary in there, baby. Anyways, by the way, guys, if you're watching and maybe this is your first time on the channel, make sure you, hit that follow button. That way you can get notifications every time we go live. Download the app. Download the Twitch app because that's where you're going to get your notifications. You don't have to use Twitch for anything else. Just follow us. Get those notifications every time we go live. We do Madden Sims. We do post-game shows. We do post-game podcasts. We do preview podcasts. We play football game. We play video games. We don't play football games. We're not good enough at that.
Motown. Hall & Oates.
Football.
He likes dinosaurs.
But make sure you do all that. And if you want, subscribe. I mean, we're at literally 199 right now, and I'm not saying that bothers me at all. But I'm saying we've never crossed
really
200. We've never crossed 200. Just saying. That would be a cool mark to set. That's all I'm saying. What's a worse situation to be in, Cowboys or Jets? Ouch.
I mean, no. I know the answer there, and it's Cowboys because McCarthy is going to get fired after one season.
You think? Without Dak?
Bet. This team is really bleeping bad right now. Bet. Like, even without Dak Prescott, you should not be losing 25-3 to Washington.
True. There it is. I was waiting for that time. I was ready because Uncle Indigo gave the one gifted sub to push us to 200, but then Lefty gifted another 5. He is now up to 65 gifted subs in the channel. I feel like more than half of that have come in the past week or two. You're both legends, Uncle Indigo and Lefty Detroit. You guys are amazing. I'm sure that'll update sometime soon. But thank you. We are now over 200 subs. The amount of support we've gotten from our channel in the past month has been amazing. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that.
Yeah, no, I think the Jets, Adam Gase is going to get fired. It is brutal there and everything, but they're hitting rock bottom. The Cowboys are still kind of in denial, and that's the worst place to be when you're in denial that you are actually a bad team, and all this time you spent building up a good team has been for nothing. And that team is built for that is something I think people are realizing. That Cowboys team, its personnel aren't good. Like everything else besides Dak Prescott and everything else, it's not a good team. And there's not a good coach. And McCarthy was the wrong bleeping coach to put in there. The Cowboys are trash. And I think that sudden, stark realization that you are trash for a team like the Cowboys, that reaps the whirlwind more than just being the Jets. And you're expected to suck.
Yeah, the thing about any team in the NFC East, though, is that it doesn't matter how much you lose. It seems like any week you could just be like, if we win, we're in first place.
Yeah, no, I think I guarantee you, whoever comes out of the East is going to only have like 5-6 wins tops.
That would be insane. I would say 7 wins you the NFC East, but you could see if there's a 6-10 team that makes the playoffs. rip it all up and start over brand new.
It could. What if it's 5-10-1 because the Eagles already have a tie?
Yeah. How about a 5-10-1 and they get home field advantage in the playoffs?
They do.
In the first round.
For whatever that counts for. I don't know, because the Lions are 3-1 on the road this year.
True. But I will say the Cowboys have incurred like a shit ton of injuries. That offensive line, which is the heart of that team, is like gone. Yeah. Obviously, Dak is the big one you circle. But
sure, but you're also losing to other MASH units in the NFC East. Like the Eagles are just as banged up.
Yeah, that's true. They're a mess.
Yeah, I just don't know. All I know is that like Jerry. The problem is that I think for the Jets owner, it's kind of expected this is going to be a bad team going through a rebuild. Jerry Jones is in denial, and he will remain in denial until he's dead. Sorry.
Shout out staying in denial until you're dead.
Yeah, but I think Zeus the Loose Goose did do the math, and I think we decided the only thing you need to win a division in the NFL is 3 wins and a points tiebreaker. 3 divisional wins, you lose all your out of conference, and you just have a points tiebreaker against one of your other teams that only has 3 divisional wins.
Sexy.
Yeah. Killed the divisions.
Let's you want to get into our next segment here?
Let's do it. Let's jump into Penthouse Doghouse.
It's bad for a lot. It's bad for a lot of teams today. Speaking of Doghouse, I did see Jared Stidham came in for.
Yeah, you want to talk about football teams that are bad because of their personnel?
Patriots, holy crap! I did not think they were going to be this
bad. As much as we wound up leaving the Cam Newton return tour, he's been getting worse and worse by the week. And yeah, now you get benched for Jared Stidham, like kind of over.
Yeah, not good. Not good. But you know what is good? Segment 2.
Sorry. And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, where I, Chris Perfett, have a tickle in my throat and trying to hold it together while we get here. But yeah, woof, woof. We're doing the dogs, we're doing the barking, and we're doing the bling because it's penthouse and doghouse. We're putting players up in the penthouse, we're putting players down in the doghouse. And as I like to describe this game as a Jekyll and Hyde game for a lot of players. So it's going to be really interesting when I get to mine, because some of the guys have mixed stuff. But I think I want to start with Ryan, because I think Ryan, this is his segment. He's comfortable in this segment. He wants to just go right off the bat while I just sip on something to get rid of this crap in my throat. So go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I'm going to start right off the bat with stealing who I'm assuming Jeremy's going to say. So he's going to have to think on his feet, because wherefore art thou Romeo Okwara belongs in the penthouse. Holy smokes. Who would have thought when the Lions acquired Romeo Okwara that they would be getting maybe their best pass rusher so far this season? I mean, Trey Flowers he's been good, he's been steady, but Romeo Okwara today, I mean, let's see. Where do I start? The strip sack, which was maybe it's hard to say that it's the biggest play of the game because there's so many big plays that happen, but like the Lions' victory isn't possible, I think, without a big turnover like that at that point in the game. He had another sack on a 3rd and 5 that ended a drive. Yep. He had 3 quarterback hits. Romeo Okwara, and he had a tackle for a loss too. He was a man. He was a man out there. He's a dude, and it's really nice to know that the Lions have 2 at least steady pass rushers in Okwara and Flowers.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna mistake Romeo Okwara for like an elite pass rusher in this league. It's not like he has a ton of pass rushing moves. But when the Lions need to dial up on the edge, when the Lions need to dial up a pressure, need some sort of semblance of someone getting to the quarterback, it's been him more often than not. He only came to this game with 2 sacks, but that was leading the team, and now he's doubled it up to 4. So yeah, I mean he was huge in this game, and I think that, like you said, that strip sack was, I wouldn't necessarily, maybe even you can call it a turning point in that game, because the Lions, had just missed a field goal, and it looked like the Falcons maybe were about to drive to extend their lead to maybe 2 scores. And like you said, if that's a 2-score game, the game's probably over. So huge play in that game, no question.
I consider that a turning point just because at that point, the Lions were down 1 point, and that, the fumble set up for the field goal to take the lead. And then, then turns into the sequence of of trading touchdowns with Todd Gurley for the Falcons. So I consider that a turning point in that it put pressure on the Falcons that they needed to be the one to score now rather than just icing the game. Yeah, I haven't seen a presence like Okwara for the Lions since probably Ezekiel Ansah. Like, he's probably not as good as Ansah was, at least at the height of Ansah, but still, like, that's just how threadbare this Lions pass rush has been. Okwara actually produces. He got you 3 quarterback hits in addition to his sacks. Like, he was out there and he was creating havoc for Matt Ryan.
Right. And really, I mean, Romeo Okwara he's a fine player, but he's playing way above his pay grade right now. Yeah. And the thing about him is that the Lions pass rush, as Chris said, so threadbare, just so starved that if you throw a saltine, they eat it up like it's a Ritz cracker. I mean, I'm not saying Romeo Okwara isn't who we think he is. Like, let's keep our expectations in check. But like, he had a really, really good game today, and his performance overall this season has been pretty good.
I'm gonna let you get to your doghouse, but I object because I like saltines better than Ritz crackers.
You're a goddamn fool.
I can eat sleeves of saltines, man.
You want me to get to a doghouse player of mine?
Please.
Okay. Danny Amendola. All right. Danny Amendola for 2 reasons. One, the boneheaded move to, take off his helmet and celebrate. That put Matt Prater in a really tough spot. That all of a sudden made an extra point right around in the same range of the field goal that Matt Prater missed earlier.
Yep.
So, I mean, for that play, and then on the it was the second drive of the game, he had a easy catch that would have converted on 3rd down, and it was a really bad drop. It was a bad drop, and I know he made that catch up the sideline. He was wide open on that play where he ran it off for like 36 yards. That was busted coverage. And the thing that's frustrating about Amendola is that he's supposed to be the player who's not doing those things. Yes. He's supposed to be the sure-handed guy. He's supposed to be the guy who makes smart plays. Mm-hmm. Yeah, plays with his head and everything. Wasn't on display today, and he definitely deserves to be in the doghouse.
Yeah, I think you took one of my doghouse candidates there. Amendola I thought the receiving core as a whole, a lot of bright spots today between Kenny Golladay, Marvin Jones, TJ Hawkins, and even DeAndre Swift got in on some of the receiving. I can't say Amendola, even though he produced some good yards for you, that he was a bright spot, just because the negatives outweighed the positives here at the end of the day. And that's not something you need from your slot receiver.
Agreed. You want me to take over here?
I was kind of rared up, ready to go, but I'll let you go.
All right. Well, all right, I'm going to jump in. I'm taking over.
All right. We'll do it live.
Not only is Kenny Golladay in the penthouse, he gets his own Scrooge McDuck room with coins that he can just swim in for the next 6 days.
Pays that man his money.
Please let that dude stick around because, listen, I know he doesn't get a ton of yards of separation, but the catches he made today were just phenomenal. Each and every single one. Every single one was just, holy crap, are you kidding me? Like, Calvin Ridley made one pretty awesome catch in this game. That would have been like the 5th best play that Golladay would have made today. He was all over the damn place. Doesn't matter if there was someone on him. Doesn't matter if Stafford threw it 3 feet above his head. He was coming down it. Doesn't matter if he's getting blasted in the middle of the air, landing straight on his back. He's popping right back up and doing it again on the next play. My goodness, Kenny Golladay, we talked about it, Calvin Johnson-esque performance. I'm never going to call him the B word because that's not a nickname of his. But my goodness, he couldn't have done better for himself, couldn't have been a bigger weapon for the Lions, couldn't have been more clutch for the Lions in that game-winning drive. Kenny Golladay, have yourself a freaking day.
Nothing else to say other than his name's not Babytron.
Yes.
Every single catch he had was like better than the last.
Yeah.
He had that play. I don't know who the poor corner was, but Stafford threw it up and Golladay was just like, this is mine and it's not yours. Like it was a ball that the corner probably should have had, but Kenny Golladay was just like, no, it's mine because I'm bigger and stronger and better than you. And how was Kenny Golladay secretly the best receiver on the field
today?
Take
that, Julio. Yeah.
He's top 10. He's top 10, Jeremy. I don't know what else he has to do to prove you wrong.
I'd like to see better route running, but I mean, if you're just making those 50-50 ball catches 90% of the time, I'm not going to complain. How can I complain about that? I also want to say really, really quick for Penthouse, Matt Patricia deserves a ton of credit for the challenge that he made of the too many men. I'm going to make this really quick, but like that sequence was brilliant because he gave himself 2 opportunities to get the first down there. First thing he did was not challenge it immediately. He put the punting team out there, tried to draw him off sides. If they get him off sides, doesn't even have to worry about the challenge because guess what? You get the first down by having them draw off sides. And if you saw the replay, it was really, really close. So giving yourself the opportunity to not potentially waste a challenge, potentially waste a timeout that we knew they were going to need at the end, I thought he deserves a lot of credit for that. The rest of the game plan, we might get into later. Had some issues there, but give Matt Patricia a peek into the Penthouse for that play alone.
Just a peek. You can peek into the keyhole and then immediately get shown out because he might be a peeper.
Sure.
Just he can have a peep just as a little treat.
As a little treat. Probably not the best things to discuss when we're talking about Matt Patricia given his past, but I digress. Who's in your doghouse?
It's got to be Adrian Peterson, man. I'm sorry.
Oh, God. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No, he's dead already.
Listen. 11 rushes, 29 yards, missed on a 4th down conversion, missed on that 3rd down conversion as well that got bailed out by the too many men. What does he bring at this point? He doesn't catch the ball a heck of a lot, more so this year than probably we expected, but he's not really a big weapon there. What does he bring in terms of pass protection? Nothing. And what does he bring as a runner right now? Like, not much. Like, the one thing we would say is that, he's a physical back. He can probably fall forward, gain a couple yards every single play, but that doesn't seem to be true anymore. And he wasn't helped out by the offensive line in this game. I'll admit that, but it's getting harder and harder to rationalize him not only getting 10-plus carries a game, but being in the lineup at all. And maybe that means Bo Scarborough. Maybe that means giving the young guy a shot. And Adrian Peterson certainly isn't going to enjoy that. And maybe that means cutting Adrian Peterson. But, I mean, would you be that upset if that happened right now? I don't think I would.
I always believed Adrian Peterson's use was going to be limited because he's old and he ain't got much in that tank. I'm sorry. Sounds mechanical to talk about a person like that, but yeah, I don't know what else to say here, man. We got wowed in September, but guess what? It's almost November. And I don't see Adrian Peterson continuing to do much other than just ram right at the pile. And guess what? You can do that with Kerryon Johnson. You can do that with Bo Scarborough. Kerryon Johnson gets you incredible pass blocking, and same with the same package.
So yeah, and
I'm just saying.
And that means there's a little bit more, confusion on the defensive part. Like if Kerryon Johnson's in there now, you're like, oh, it's probably going to be a pass because he's good at pass blocking. But if you give him a little more carries, you give him maybe cut into Adrian Peterson's time a little bit, might throw the defense off a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and when it comes to Swift, it's either you're going to hand him the ball or he might be a receiving threat. You don't know.
Right.
So
for the Twitch audience, show of hands, who'd rather have Kerryon Johnson than Adrian Peterson?
Yep. That's consensus on the podcast.
Everyone's raising their hand. Jeremy was trying to be clever and coy, but I'm going to say right now, podcast listener at home, he's raising his hand in his mind castle.
Who do you got, Chris?
All right, let's start with the Penthouse, and I've got to go. I guess we haven't hit him. I guess I'm going with the easy. You've teed this ball up for me, so it's Matthew Stafford. I've written enough about how his EPA earn point per play. I forget the actual metric. It's off the top of my head. Excuse me. His efficiency's just been down. It's just been down the last 5 games. Even in the good game he had even the good game the Lions had against the Jaguars, it wasn't great. And after 5 games, I was sitting here thinking like, man, maybe this is just who he is now. And I think whatever Stafford looked a lot more comfortable today. It wasn't completely free of errors, but he played a pretty damn good game out there. He orchestrated a winning drive. He commanded the line of scrimmage incredibly well, especially in those hurry up situations where they had to get up there all the time. He knew how to like try to draw the play so they could get the 12 men on the field. He throws the game-winning throw. He was getting the ball into some pretty tight spots. You put him in the penthouse, man. Do nothing else but that. Like, this was a complete game out of Stafford, top to bottom. Even the sacks he took, like in past weeks, we talk about, hey, his presence in the pocket wasn't great. Again, those sacks were usually because the offensive line the protection just didn't pick up a defender.
Yeah.
Nothing was on Stafford here.
I think you're so right in putting him there, Chris, and I think it's important that we do put Stafford there because, it's almost like we took away the keys because he was just kind of like Lions royalty. He was living in the penthouse, and everything that was happening bad with the team, you couldn't heap on Matthew Stafford. You couldn't have him to blame for it. So I think it's really, really good that the Lions got a vintage Stafford performance today, and that deserves to be celebrated for sure.
Jeremy?
I already praised Stafford like crazy. I thought it was the best game he's played this season by far. Maybe even going back to last season, I think this was as close to a flawless Stafford performance as we've gotten in a while.
Yeah, there is a statistic called completion percentage above expected. His was way down up until this week. He's spiked it up by a good, I think 3 points if I'm reading this chart right.
Nice.
Just with this game alone. That's big. Let's go to the doghouse. Let's go to the doghouse. And I can't put Patricia there just because I like some of the challenges that came out of this game. However, if we're looking for a villain on why this offense was both my penthouse and doghouse both revolve around the same thing, the offense. And these are the two sides. And I think I've figured out as we've been sitting here, as we've been mulling over this, stewing over this, like a pot of cold brew that I am brewing over the course of 20 hours, which I have gotten into a lot because I'm an idiot and I have nothing else to do during pandemic. But Stafford was the good part, and you knew when the offense started to click, it was when Stafford was taking charge. When he wasn't taking charge, this is where the doghouse comes up. Darrell Bevel, get in the doghouse. Get in the doghouse, man. I'm tired of this play calling. I'm tired of watching downs just getting wasted. And again, I think it's the villain behind the idea of a lot of the Adrian Peterson stuff, and just not even just on some of the runs, but on some of the tempo, on some of the plays that just kind of the pattern of the plays in each sequence of downs. I'm not in love with a lot of this Lions offensive scheme right now. And I think a lot of that comes back to Darrell Bevel, and we've skirted around the issue. We've danced around it. We've been trying. And this is the thorny thing about football is it's trying to met out blame. But I think when it comes down to it, we have a couple doghouse people that we've put in there from the offense, and Danny Amendola and Adrian Peterson, all granted. But I think a lot of it also falls on Darrell Bevel and how some of these plays have been schemed out and how some of the play calling is going.
Someone has to be the one to put Adrian Peterson out, and whether that's Darrell Bevel or Matt Patricia, not entirely sure. But yeah, they deserve blame.
We can meme the shit out of run, pass. We can. I saw some stuff that wasn't just run, pass, wasting a lot of downs out there too. Like at some point, you need to go back to the drawing board a little bit. And guess what? All those problems evaporated in the final in the drives where you just let Matt Stafford off the chain and let him command that offense. Then let him take charge because you didn't have the time to really relay stuff. But when it was back in Darrell Bevel's hands, there were problems.
Yeah. For sure.
Ryan went over a lot of the second down issues, but I also think to all the key play issues. And when they get into the red zone, when it's third down, when it's fourth down, there's just failure upon failure upon failure. We saw another play in which two Lions receivers were just on top of each other.
They ran into each other. Yeah.
And that's happened in 2 or 3 or 4 games. And yeah, that's probably at least a little bit on the Lions receivers. I don't think there's a schemed play, a designed play where it's just, hey, run into each other so Matthew Stafford can dunk it off one of your heads. Like, that's not a play. But now that this is a recurring issue, there has to be some sort of issue with coaching at this point, and maybe it's designed too. It's frustrating to see. It seems like, I mean, it wasn't a horrible day for the offense. We're kind of harping on them a lot, but at the same time, it wasn't a good one. This is not a good Falcons defense, and this Lions team had 16 points until the last 10 minutes of the game, and last minute of the game. That's not nearly enough. They need to be more aggressive. They never will be. We know this team is going to establish the run, but this was a week that they shouldn't have done it, and it took them too long to get out of that pattern.
There were 10 Lions possessions in this game, and I just want to say here that when they were getting rolling, it was usually productive. 9 plays turns into a touchdown. However, on some of these other drives, like in those 10 drives, there were, let me count them here, 3 3-and-outs. That's kind of unacceptable because that kills your momentum. I don't want to use the word momentum, but you know what I'm talking about here. Like, you've given your defense no time to get off the field and rest and look over their errors and try to formulate the next plan. You've gotten no time off the clock. Like, the 3-and-out in the second half was less than a minute off the clock. And I don't know what else to say here. Like, when the offense isn't rolling, it's because it's been figured out and it's just been beaten just around the block.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think that's my most worrying concern going for the Lions forward is that, yeah, you pulled it off here, but there's a lot of problems still with this defense.
I'd like to talk a little bit about defense, and maybe we can do that in the next segment since
sure.
We've literally not talked anything about the defense except for Romeo Okwara. So maybe we take a break here and then talk a little defense, and then maybe talk about going forward after that.
Absolutely. Let's do it. We're going to take a quick break, talk the defense and where the roadmap goes from here for the Detroit Lions. We will be right back on the Pride of Detroit PODcast. Also feel like we should talk some more funny stuff too, but that's me. All right. Let's get back to Twitch chat. I think someone said that, I'm trying to find the question. First off, I liked Alien Vivitor, who asked us if Todd Gurley gets the penthouse. Guest room.
Yeah. He gets a visitor's pass.
I can't remember the Latin for the word. I'm trying to find the message someone sent us that, it was their first time watching on Twitch, and we all look exactly like our voices sound like on PODcast.
Yeah. I respond to that thank you, ?
I'll take it.
Really quick, some follows that we got. Fed NV, thank you for the follow. Johnny Kenobi, thank you for the follow. Kimpos or Simpos, thank you for the follow. And M. Suffool, thank you for the follow. And by the way, if you guys don't know how to follow, meow, pew, hit that heart right there. And then another thing will come up, a bell will come up, and that's for notifications. Again, download the app so you get those notifications. Twitch app, it's free. It's all fun. Follow us on there. That 3-man front is unreal, says Load Aries. I think you're talking about the Lions. I'm glad the defense has been much better. Atlanta forces running, thinking one would pop, but run defense was really sound. Yep, we're going to get a little bit into that. Runs feel very uncreative. Seems it's always between the tackles. Yeah, a little bit, but they had, right after the strip sack, I think the first play was a toss to DeAndre Swift, and it went for -5.
Yeah, when Swift got the rock to do a rush, it was always to bounce to the outside because they know where to use DeAndre Swift, and that's to go to the outside. So I'll give him that. So on his carries, that was a lot where he was used.
Yeah, and that's kind of what YXWH says is the runs aren't creative because AP can't do what he used to do when he's in the game. It's just a dive. Yeah, I mean, you're not going to run Adrian Peterson to the outside very much. It's true.
Chris has turned into Italian Cholo in LA. That was always going to be my fate, man. That was always going to be my fate.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Lions secondary because I actually don't think it was necessarily a poor day from them.
Mm-hmm.
They played a shit ton of zone. A shit ton of zone.
Yeah, and I think that's, and I'll bring this up. I feel like I got really frustrated watching Calvin Ridley hauling in all these passes.
Yeah.
And I think a lot that always seemed to happen when the Lions started playing zone.
Well,
I think it was the same for Hayden. I think it was the same for Hayden Hurst too. Like Calvin Ridley was just dead open. Like more often than not, Calvin Ridley just had no one covering him. Like I don't know if it was a blown coverage or what.
Yeah, that he had that one pass that didn't end up being a touchdown, and then the very next play he was wide open in the middle of the field. And I don't know if, like you said, if that was busted coverage or a failed assignment or what, but it was.
Yeah, I don't know who was on him, or else I would have put in my doghouse whoever was supposed to cover Calvin Ridley. But I can't. I need a name to do that. I have to go back and watch the tape to see who was on him. I'm sure probably moved around. It probably wasn't just Jeff Okuda or whatever. Or was Okuda on Jones the entire day? I can't remember.
They stick to a side,
they move.
So they'll face just about everyone. Any other questions from you? Oh, I forgot to run an ad for you guys. You guys are. Should we run an ad right now? I'll leave it up to chat. Do you guys want a 1 minute ad before we get back to it? Or do you want to just jump into it? And by the way, it did update. We are at 205 subscriptions. You guys are the best. Thank you so much for all the support.
That's what I like to see.
That Okuda pass interference happened so early in the game that I completely forgot about it. It was bullshit. Let me just say that. There was not nearly enough contact in there to prevent whoever the receiver was. I don't know if it was Ridley or Jones, to prevent him from getting an opportunity to catch that ball. Horrible call. That's why I absolutely hate pass interference as a penalty. I hate putting them immediately on the 1 yard line. I hate automatic first downs. I hate spot fouls. I hate so much about pass interference because it's such a tough call for the ref to make live that you're going to get bad calls. There was contact. I'm not going to deny that, chat, but I don't think it was enough. I think that was a poor call.
Hey, by the way, I was going to say real quick, what also was pass interference was that last play, Kenny Galladay. That defender got to Kenny Galladay way before the ball even got to Kenny.
Yeah.
And watching it live, I was like, that's pass interference. And then watching it on replay, I was like, that's pass interference.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe he caught that ball to, make that a complete non-issue.
True.
By the way, I do want to shout out, since we're talking about certain weird things from this game. I completely forgot Brandon Powell used to be on the Lions, and I remembered it as soon as he slipped up on that return. So,
all right, quick ad. Chat says they want an ad. I'm nothing but a man of the people. Boom, ad. All right. We're officially. So if you guys want to say anything bad about the unsubscribed chat, this would be the now the time to say
I
it.
found one of my tweets from the game. We were talking about the broadcast crew earlier. Did he call DeAndre Swift Deontay Swift at one point?
Probably.
He did.
I think he did.
Howie Long did.
Oh, Howie Long. That's what it was. Yeah, in the studio, yeah. Howie Long in a weird moment of his brain just frying in his skull pan.
You know what my favorite thing about the Fox game day crew or whatever they call themselves? It's those skits right before the half. They're like, oh, we're getting ready for the halftime show. Oh, where's Terry Bradshaw? I hope they don't find me here. That shit is so funny.
I don't get those.
Slamming Terry Bradshaw.
I feel like they're holding on to Terry Bradshaw in the same way ESPN holds on to Lee Corso.
Oh, Lee Corso is gone.
Lee Corso is literally just there to put on a Brutus the Buckeye head. Lee Corso will croak on a Friday, and like the Cadaver Synod, if you know your Catholic history, like the Cadaver Synod or a Weekend at Bernie's, they will roll him out one last time just to put on the Florida Gator head. It'll happen.
I don't respect Terry Bradshaw even a little bit. The fact that people were writing articles that, oh, Terry Bradshaw thinks Matt Patricia should get fired. I don't care what he thinks.
Yeah, no.
Why would I care about what he thinks?
Let me tell you, those words are from a producer.
Guess what? The Lions are 3-1 since he said that, so he can go eat rocks.
Ooh.
Listen to you.
I don't even care if I agreed with him at the time that Matt Patricia probably should go. I probably will think by the end of the season that Matt Patricia should go. But like, why is that a headline? Why are we respecting Terry Bradshaw enough for that to be a headline? For that to be something that people care about?
It made me want to fire Matt Patricia less.
Yeah. Me
After
too.
Terry Bradshaw
Yeah.
said it, I'm like, ooh, I don't want to have an opinion shared with Terry Bradshaw.
It made me root even harder for the Lions because now I hope they
Yeah,
if they win the fucking division. Let's play that clip over and over. Like the podcast that we clinch the division, which obviously is not ever going to happen. But if it were to happen in this scenario, we're just gonna play that clip of Terry Bradshaw for an hour. That's it.
Well, a lot of us are going to be in there too because of what we were doing during the bye and after.
I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, 1 and 3. But I mean, fair. No, that's it. You got to take.
We don't
shots
call
at
like
yourself.
that's the one thing I don't like to do is I don't like to call for people's jobs. And for him to like say he's a joke of a coach, it's just like it's disrespectful. You're just trying to fucking get ratings or whatever and make headlines. And congratulations, we bought it. We made headlines for you. You're welcome. It's garbage. Garbage TV, and everyone who wrote that headline should be ashamed of themselves.
Weird damn week in the NFL all around, though. Like this, I think we need to talk about how this game fits into what week 7 has been so far, because we had a weird, very Falcons, very Lions end to this game. 2 really high-scoring games that were kind of decided. Saints, Panthers, and Titans, Steelers are both decided by missed field goals at the end.
Yeah, that
Tails
game,
matter.
the Browns and Bengals game. Joey
yeah, that's
Burrow,
right.
Joey Burrow is so legit.
He's legit.
He's real good, and Justin Herbert like absolutely torched the Jaguars. I don't know if you saw that, but he threw for 347 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Herbert went off against the Jags, even as Gardner Minshew was kind of chipping away at their very bad defense. I mean, let's see. I mean, the Jets had a glimmer of hope before the Bills kind of field goal kicked their way back to victory.
Yeah, the Bills aren't good.
Oh,
They're not good.
Not even good?
It's time to sell stock. No, it is.
Yeah,
Like
no,
you're allowed to revise after 7 weeks. I think it's time to sell.
I mean, I don't think this is a crazy thing to say. I think the Dolphins might end up winning the AFC East.
What?
That really
is a
depends on how
crazy
good
thing
Tua
to say.
is from here on out.
What's
Because they
their,
can't go back
oh,
to
they
Fitzpatrick.
are they 4-2?
Clip it. No, I think they're
3-3?
they're 3-3. I think.
Yeah, they are.
They're 3-3. Yes.
Yeah, and the Bills are 5-2. But the problem with the Bills is that they have no running game. Their running game is just absolutely terrible. And when teams can like game up and scheme for like Josh Allen's legs, which the Jets couldn't. I mean, they gave up 61 yards on the ground to Josh Allen.
Sorry, you just got called Ryan Bayless in the chat.
Okay.
You didn't even spell Bayless right.
How is that even hot takey? Like, what about the Bills makes you think that they're a very good team? Let's see. Let's review their victories. They beat the Raiders. Cool. They beat the Rams by 3, and they beat the Jets twice.
And they beat.
They've already played the Jets twice.
Yeah, they've already played the Jets twice. So like that's their gift.
Okay.
And they barely beat the Dolphins by 3.
That's a fair point.
And not only did they lose the, I mean, okay, you're expected to lose to the Chiefs, but like the amount you lost the Titans to, you let the Titans put a 40
did put a
burger
hurting on them.
Yeah,
Like-
they got aired out by the Titans. I mean, they do have the Patriots next week, but then they have Seahawks, Cardinals, Chargers, 49ers, Steelers.
Yeah, I think they're going to win that division just because I think they'll clean up on those teams left in their division. Like I think they'll get at least one win on the Patriots, and they could very well beat the Dolphins again because I think they match up well against them, and they'll be at home. And the Dolphins will have to they'll be in Buffalo against the Dolphins in January.
But
Hell yeah,
you're
baby!
calling
You know
your
what?
shot
Brian
on Tua.
Brian Flores is gonna have them practicing outside, just like a good Patriots coach would be doing.
But you calling your shot on Tua. That's what you're doing essentially, right? Like you're saying Tua is going to lead that team to closing in on a 2-game lead.
100%, because that toothpaste doesn't go back in the tube.
Oh right.
Like you can't bench Tua. That can't happen.
No.
So by demoting Ryan Fitzpatrick, Tua is your guy for the rest of the season. And if they think Tua is ready, what's Tua gonna do to that team? Ooh,
I'm playing it right now.
Okay, I've got no interest in the Sunday night game, but I will say, like, Monday night, I don't know who's more of a fraud. I think the Bears might honestly be. I don't know if they're like fully legit, but I think the Rams are more of a fraud right now than the Bears.
Really, that's pretty bold.
Look at who the Rams have all beaten. What are their 4 wins, Ryan? What do their 4 wins all have in common?
I don't know. Are they all against really bad teams?
NFC East teams, all 4 of them: Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Washington. Those are their wins.
That's kind of amazing.
If this was college football, we'd be demoting them points because all they've played are Sun Belt teams. And they've lost to the Bills and the 49ers.
That's fair. I think that they're gonna clean up the Bears. I don't like. I'm really for certain. Even though they lost a bad game last week to the Niners, I just think that the Rams. I don't know. The point total in that game is far too high though.
Yeah, it's too high. Call up BK69 and let's get some action going. I could see. By the way, you finally finished that movie after like what 10 months.
My heart has not stopped beating at a rabbit's pace.
We have
we're talking about Uncut Gems, by the way,
the best movie of all time.
Listeners, Twitch audience, we have been trying to get Ryan to finish watching Uncut Gems for over half a year
now,
and he just
now we need to get him to show it to his friend Bovada King, just so it was an intervention by proxy getting him to watch that movie. Hasn't worked yet. By the way, did you win your bet, your quarterback bet you were telling me about?
No, he was I think he ended up finishing. I think only Burrow threw for like 403 yards today.
Yeah, so Ryan put a bet on the leading pass by yards in the first set of games. He put money on Stafford, who had horrible odds.
I was thinking of you, Ryan, because during my Bronx Talk segment for the weekends, for one of the weekend shows on Fox Sports Radio, one of the stories I did was about a bettor on FanDuel who laid $8,600 on Clemson on the money line on Clemson at minus 100,000 against Syracuse to win $8.60.
Yeah, dude.
And Syracuse came out a little on fire to start that game.
I know. I was looking at the adjusted spreads for that game before it. You could get Syracuse plus 58 points. And I was like, how can I not take Syracuse plus 58? But I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do that because the week prior to that, Clemson put up 73 on Georgia Tech. But
national
I would have taken it.
I've made that bet before. I make that bet like all the time because
you show me tickets. You show me tickets.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen them. But it was always live bets, like in the last 3 outs of a baseball game or something.
Yeah, and even that's scary. I mean, can you believe the ending to that baseball game last night? That was insane.
I was gonna say, didn't you almost blow it on like a Marlins game at some point, or was it a Heat game or something?
There's been a lot of bad bets in my life.
No. Kuzno says to stop with 2 minutes left. No, the ending's perfect. Uncut Gems isn't that movie without its ending.
Hold on. Howie is a objectively bad, shitty person. Like, he deserved to die.
Spoiler.
Whoa, holy crap, spoilers. No, but I think my argument is always like his whole it's that monologue. He told you his entire purpose in life is to score the win. It would be irresponsible to continue to let him go about after he's won and just be doing whatever. Like, he had to go out
chasing another win. Like, what's interesting about that?
Or like, to make off with his girlfriend with whatever they've, gotten. No. The right answer is in that moment of ecstasy. That's it. He dies. He goes, he's happy. He's happy. He will never be higher than that moment. It is cruel to him as a filmmaker to do anything else.
Yeah, that movie was legitimately, I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
One of my friends, we were putting together like our top 3 Adam Sandler movies, and I think Uncut Gems was in there, and then I think I had to pick between, I had Wedding Singer on there, and then I had to pick between
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, one of those two. I think I leaned Happy Gilmore. I like Happy Gilmore more than Billy Madison, but yeah.
Punch Drunk
But
Love.
Wedding Singer has to be on there.
Punch Drunk Love. People saying they didn't know Adam Sandler could act. If you saw Punch Drunk Love, you would know that he could act. Great. I love that movie. One of my top 10 movies, maybe.
That'd be a good list test one of these days.
Top 3 Adam Sandler movie, Hubie Halloween. Have you watched that yet on Netflix?
Why would I have watched that movie?
It's an hour and 40 minutes of just Sandler talking with an underbite, and I love it. I love
Troy
it.
Barnes.
So
if you
good.
like The Longest Yard, you should just check out I liked him in Longest Yard, but everyone always, every time I say that, people say just go watch the original Longest Yard.
Oh yeah, Spanglish too. He's pretty good in that as well. Megan stopped by from the Super Squares. Hey Megan, thanks for stopping by. And then I don't know how to pronounce your name, Masinksi with the tier 1 sub. MAASYXCIII. I don't know how to pronounce that, but thank you for the subscription, bud. Appreciate it. That moves us to 206. We're killing it this month. Actually, you guys are killing it. We're doing the same thing we always do.
We're just idiots.
We're just idiots with microphones. You guys are being amazing. All right, we are. There are too many Adam Sandler movies in the chat right now. I don't like this.
I tell you what. Do you mind waiting a little bit because I got to go take a piss?
Yes, that's fine.
Just real quick.
We'll run it out of the ad. No, I'm just kidding. We won't do that. Chat, who do you got? You know, this is a good time to run a poll. For all these people here, let's run a poll on who wins tonight. It's the Rams-Bears games. That's tonight, right? Like that's the one. Oh, no. It's
Cardinals, Seahawks.
Cardinals. We'll run a poll for that instead. Who wins SNF?
But include the spread in there.
No. Nope.
Why?
Because I don't want you polling our audience for betting purposes. All right, there's a poll.
Hey.
Should be at the top of your chat. Let's see what you think. No, chat. Tie is not an option.
See, you
Get off the
opened it up
fence.
for tie.
No, I didn't.
I could have said the line is Seahawks -3.5, and then you can't call for any ties.
I only gave them two options. Right now, 21 people have voted Seahawks. Only 2 have said Cardinals. I'm not sure.
Good.
I'm not so sure.
I got the Seahawks in this because I'm not buying into that Cardinals win from a week ago when they absolutely thrashed the Cowboys. I don't know. I just don't think they're. I think you made a great point, Jeremy, a few weeks ago when the Lions beat the Cardinals was that, the Cardinals got the 49ers at the best time possible. It was the first week. They had some big time injuries in that game too, with Nick Bosa going down and stuff. So they had to weather the storm with that, and they just caught him at the right time and played the right game plan against them and ended up getting that win. I don't know.
Yeah.
You think they have a chance of beating the Seahawks tonight?
I do, and it's really only because I feel like divisional games in the NFC West are always close. And I know that's not a very scientific
division,
way.
I think
it's kind of true, but I feel like we see a ton of upsets in the NFC West. I feel like they beat up on each other a fair amount, and that's going to be helpful for the Lions if they make a playoff run. I don't think the Cardinals are real. I've been hammering that Kyler Murray isn't as good as everyone thinks he is, and he hasn't been lately. So I do think the Seahawks are a better team, but I'm not counting out the Cardinals tonight.
I think people are just kind of Kyler Murray has played well recently, so he's the new and sexy, and we're already kind of forgetting that nearly everyone seems to have had Russell Wilson as their unanimous MVP after the first 2 games this season. I think we're gonna get reminded of it tonight. I could be wrong. I think every divisional game though it's rough just because you play these teams more often. You get intimate with how they run their schemes. That's why I kind of look for a lot of upsets in divisional games a lot of times. That's why the Bengals gave the Browns so much damn trouble today.
But our friend Brett Kuzno is right too. Seattle's defense has been kind of horrible so far.
Yeah, but they've also Jamal Adams has missed time too.
Sure.
And I think that that was something they definitely invested in, and that's why they went out and signed a guy like Snacks. Eventually maybe he can make an impact too. I'm gonna send this to both you guys real quick, and we can get back into the third segment here.
Sure. Yeah, we got to do that.
But
got to make some food at some point.
Really quick
stock report.
Count K9. Can you explain to me why AP is still getting carries? We just talked kind of extensively about Adrian Peterson. Short answer is we don't know. because maybe Bo Scarborough's about to take over his job. I shouldn't even cross my fingers. I hope one of them succeeds. But keep an eye on Bo Scarborough. I'm interested to see what they do with him. Is this going to be a betting slip?
I wish I had.
It is
your,
a betting
I wish
slip.
I
I
had
knew
your
it was going to be a
gall
betting
do this kind
slip.
of stuff, man.
Wish you had what?
I wish I had your gall to do this. I could really use some money right now for various just
No,
silly things.
don't. This isn't how you earn money, Chris. This is how you
You don't
make
know
games
how- you don't know how
exciting
rough
and
this
then
month
lose
has been.
$20 at a time.
This
You
is
don't
how I
realize-
win.
No.
You don't
not.
realize how rough this has been for me and my hobbies sometimes. Like I could really use some spending money.
This isn't how you get it, though. I understand you need money. Betting on football games is not the way to do it.
Hey man, the straight and narrow for me hasn't been working. I'll just say that.
Hey, am I sitting pretty with all three of those bets or what? Come on.
Uncle Indigo's right. You want to make some money, play Super Squares. That's free to play. And
Uh-oh.
I won $800 on it. How much
keep
have you
on
won
saying
betting?
you won-
How much have you won betting?
I don't want to disclose that.
Oh,
over the
interesting.
internet.
I'm perfectly okay saying I won $800.
No, I'm just saying, like, you've been saying you won $800 on Super Squares for like the past 4 weeks.
Okay.
So like, have you
Yeah.
not won any money since the first time? you won?
Correct. Well, I won a $20 Pedos gift card.
Oh, well, you have to include that. That counts.
Pedos. The snack
What are
made out of
Pedos?
peas.
What is a pea? Oh, wait, they're made out of chickpeas?
It's junk food without the junk. Made from pea flour. It's actually not as bad as it sounds.
I'm gonna go to 7 and just get some Takis.
You want me to eat one right now? I'll do it. I'll do it.
Please
It's an
don't.
onion ring.
Please don't. We haven't classified this channel for ASMR.
Feed it to Zazu.
I don't know if that are dogs allowed peas.
No, don't.
Is it chickpeas
no,
or is it
don't
peas?
do it.
I can't hear shit.
This is classic onion. I had the fire before.
Jesus Christ.
It was very good. Not bad. That was pretty good. Onion rings, by the way, better than mozzarella sticks.
Well, duh. Do you know what I've been pretty excited about lately, though? I've been subscribing to the food delivery services, or like the meal delivery services. So like I've been doing like the HelloFresh. It gets me to like actually cook a meal every night.
There you go. What's the best thing you made? Real quick before we were wasting a lot of time in this
We're
segment,
waiting
but
it
Hell yeah, we are. Made these Korean beef burgers that were really good.
ooh, that does sound good. Got a little like
Yeah.
a soy ginger sauce or something on that.
Yeah, there was like a marmalade that you had to make. It was good.
Nice.
Actually, I'm probably gonna make oyakodon tonight, so yeah, I want to get this done so I can go do that. If you've never had it, it is fantastic Japanese stuff. Just rice bowl. It's really good. But anyway, we should probably get to it.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
As much as I love just sitting here doing this kind of shit, like, yeah. Wrapping up the Pride of Detroit POD cast, we just did an extended session with our Twitch audience. Once again, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit. You can go there and watch us live, and it really helps out everything here. And I know Jeremy has just started a poll that goes back to our roots, and he's asking which is better, mozzarella sticks or onion rings. So I think what's going to happen is these polls, now that I know we can do polls on Twitch, there's going to be a silly poll each time. Probably not about food, but something Lions related. Like how much money does Todd Gurley deserve? Or what would you send? What kind of Lions apparel gift would you send to Todd Gurley
Yeah.
for falling into the end zone? A hat? A jersey?
When Mason Crosby missed all those field goals way back when, old podcast listeners remembered, we spent that entire podcast talking about sending him a fruit basket.
Oh yeah, delicious fruit basket. What kind of fruit were we putting in the fruit basket for Mason Crosby? That was probably one excellent episode of podcast.
Yeah. Maybe we send him one of those like cookie baskets. What do you call those? Edible arrangements for? Isn't there like a cookie edible arrangement that we can send Todd Gurley?
It is almost Halloween. You know, we could send him some delicious treats.
I
Send
would
him some of Ryan's favorite candy bar, fun sized.
But that would be a good thing. Like, how about
We're
let's give
thanking
him
him.
Yeah, I know, but let's give him a great thing. Let's have Marvin Jones put together like a nothing but cakes, like
Ooh. Yeah.
specialized Todd Gurley, like some icing on it. Have it be a gradient like their ugly ass jerseys.
Listen, we are a generous people in Michigan when we're not yelling obscenities at each other. So, I mean, this was a game with ugly jerseys. Like at some point, I need to have an intervention with the Lions over their gray jerseys. Like, terrible idea. Get rid of them.
Yeah. Can I say the one other great thing about this Lions win? It made me completely forget about what happened on Saturday with Sparty.
Why? What happened?
Oh gosh, it's gonna be a long season.
It's gonna be a really long season. It's also gonna be a
Saturday
really long
is gonna
season
be
for
so
Penn
much
State.
fun. It's gonna be the best Halloween ever.
Oh no, this is gonna be ugly, ugly.
All right, should we get back into the Lions game? Talk a little bit about the defense.
I think our penthouse doghouse was so focused on the offense, we decided we wanted to reconvene and talk about a little bit about the defense before we look road ahead for the Lions. So, I mean, do we need to do a separate penthouse doghouse just for this defense? I feel like we've kind of mentioned Romeo Okwara and we've mentioned a little bit of Trey Flowers as the good points here, but I couldn't really put a whole side of the field in the doghouse, but I am very upset every time I watched Calvin Ridley sit wide open to get a catch. I don't know if it was because he knew how to feast on zone coverage. It seemed like the Lions were always doing zone when Calvin Ridley was catching and wide bleeping open, or if it was just a confused assignment or something. But Calvin Ridley and Hayden Hurst over the middle repeatedly it was brutal to watch, man. And I don't know who to blame, and I want someone to blame.
Yeah. Let's start with the pass defense there, because you're right in to say this team was in zone a lot. And I think it goes to show you that, the belly aching over man versus zone that we all played for the first month of the season, it's never that simple, right? It's never like, oh, this team's bad at man, this team's predictable at man. Just play zone more often.
It's the defensive version of, hey, what's better, 4-3 or 3-4 base?
Right. And so the Lions were in zone. I feel like it's going to be like 70% or more. We'll see, obviously, when the numbers come out. And a lot of the time, they were just giving up a lot of stuff underneath. They were giving up a lot of 7-8 yard catches. They didn't give up a ton of big plays in this game. Julio Jones' longest catch was 28. Calvin Ridley was 27. Everything else was under 20 yards. So in that essence, it's kind of what the Lions just like to do. It's that bend, don't break attitude that, will allow you to do enough until you shoot yourselves in the foot. And give Matt Ryan credit. He did not shoot himself in the foot much at all in this game, maybe ever. I mean, he took obviously the sack that resulted in a fumble and a turnover. But other than that, Matt Ryan was mostly playing well. The Lions were just kind of being passive. And when you play as much zone as you do against Matt Ryan, your only recourse is getting pressure. And the Lions did not get pressure like they did last week. They tried a lot of the same things in terms of like, dropping some linemen into coverage and sending some linebackers or some safeties. And a lot of times that worked. That worked on the Trey Flowers knockdown, which we didn't even talk about on fourth down when he knocked down a pass. Huge play in the game that we kind of overlooked.
Didn't Tracy Walker help with a sack too or something?
Yeah, I at least with the pressure. I think he had a tackle for loss as well.
Yeah.
On a quick pass out. But I think I don't want to put a huge knock on the secondary in this game. I don't think Jeff Okudah played particularly poorly. I don't think the pass interference call was good. He obviously slipped early in the game, but I think he had a couple pass breakups. He was good in run defense, as was Amani Oruwariye. I think it just they played a lot of zone, and when you play zone and give Matt Ryan a lot of time, he's going to pick you apart, and that's what he did.
Say all of that, and I'm going to rebound you back to the bend, don't break, because once again, my problem with Calvin Ridley being open also included a point when it broke, when he was wide open in that end zone too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's when you're playing bend, don't break.
Do there like
that,
it
that was mad.
Yeah, that was bad. Ryan,
I was going to say, do you know what was good about the defense though?
What was that?
The run defense might be a real thing.
Yeah.
Question mark? I mean, they held them to 2.5 yards a carry. And running the ball was something the Falcons really tried to do. They had 26 rushing attempts. I mean, they ran Gurley and they ran him a lot. And he just couldn't get it going. Specifically, like in the beginning of the game, like the Lions did a great job stopping the run, like through the first, I'll say like 3 quarters. And then Gurley had a couple of like big chunk runs, but they did a really good job. I mean, he finished himself with only 63 yards. What was his long? Off the top of my head,
13.
It's 13. Yeah, 13. So I mean, like, it's pretty good.
It's a great day.
Pretty good.
Unfortunately, didn't show up at the end of the game, and I mean, they rushed for a first down there at the end of the game. That should have been the end of the game. It wasn't. But yeah, I think that's also a big storyline here is the run defense 2 games in a row now, and really 3 out of 6 at this point because they were good against the Cardinals too. So what looked like maybe the bane of this team's existence, the thing that was going to sink this team, might be a little better than we thought we was. And again, I think it's all the big men up front. I mean, you look at the stat line alone, and you see Danny Shelton has 5 tackles. That's a lot for a defensive tackle. And he's not getting those downfield. He's not running guys down 30-yard field. He's getting those at the line of scrimmage. So another good day from him. Pennicini throws in 2 tackles. Nick Williams throws in 2 tackles. Deshaun Hand had a big tackle on the goal line. 4 tackles in this game. So the guys in the middle of the field, I thought they did well. I hate to always bring this back to linebackers, but I feel like the linebackers are still the issue with this team. I don't think they're particularly good in zone defense. They were okay. They were fine in run defense today. But, yeah, it's weird. I don't want to blame the secondary. I don't want to blame the defensive front too much, which leaves me to the linebackers again.
I think some blame is going to come on some cornerbacks, not as much safeties when this all comes out because I where it got really egregious was probably the last drive that the Falcons took where I know people use the word prevent defense very, very, very liberally today.
Yeah.
And usually what they're referring to isn't prevent defense itself, but it is very much so that they're not selling out to stop the pass and, they're allowing those over the middle, 5-6 yard pass completions without too much competition. And that's what was happening a lot on that last Atlanta drive. And I hate to say it, but the Lions were only up 2 points. It was really not a smart strategy.
Agreed.
I don't know what else to say about that. You were only up 2 points. Like the Falcons didn't need to go in for a touchdown. Like they're again, a lot of what we've been saying is we're all lucky here that Todd Gurley did go in for the touchdown because it gave the Lions time. The Falcons, if they had played it a little smarter and played it a little more conservatively and hadn't got out too far out in front of it, could have burned down the clock and just taken a field goal to win the game.
I mean, listen to the yards gained on each play of that last drive. 6 yards, 9 yards, 8 yards, 16 yards, 16 yards, 8 yards, 1 yard, the one play the line stop, 2 yards on the 3rd and 1, and then 10 yards. Basically nothing, like 2 plays under 5 yards. One of them happened to be a 3rd and 1 that they got anyways. There was no resistance on that last drive, and you're right, they gave them way too much room, and it kind of felt like they gave them way too much room for most of the game, but you have to think they might tighten up a little bit when the game is on the line, and they didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To add to somebody you highlighted earlier too, Jeremy, Deshaun Hand had that sneaky forced fumble on Todd Gurley that he was lucky enough to fall on.
Yeah.
So I think the defensive line, I know what you're saying. Like, it's hard to say like where exactly to put the blame on, just like, as evidenced by getting chunked all the way down the field like that. But I thought the defensive line like played like I would say like a B, maybe a B+ game if you want to put that much credit into their ability to stop the run.
And also, I mean, one thing, and I don't know how much credit you give the Lions for this, but the Falcons only scored 22 points. That was their second lowest total of the season. In all but one game before this, they had scored at least 30. And part of that is the Lions, their bend-don't-break strategy kind of works in that fashion because while the Lions didn't really stop the Falcons, they certainly slowed them because we saw those 98-yard drives that took up 6 minutes and 14 plays and other, 9 plays, 8-play drives that took a really long time. It took a lot of time off the clock. A lot of them still resulted in touchdowns, but at the same time, they got, 2 or 3 and outs this game. They forced some punts the first 3 drives of this game were 3 punts from the Falcons. First drive of the second half was also a punt. So they did enough in this game. It wasn't an outstanding performance. It's not one that's going to leave a good taste in your mouth like Jacksonville, but they did enough where, again, there's a little bit hope here. We're still waiting for the pass defense to kind of settle in, but the run defense is better, and there are some promising signs, I think, in the secondary. Well, I think Jeff Okudah had his best game. I think Amendola didn't play horribly in this game. We'll see how that proceeds. Maybe they get a little more confidence in those guys, play a little more man going forward, and maybe it all works out there. But I'm not walking away from this game feeling terribly about their defense.
There was real quick. There was one play that I saw Jeff Okudah like pre-snap, like he was like jumping up and down. You'll probably see it in all 22, Jeremy, but I'd be interested to go back and see. But he's like jumping up and down, like pointing at Julio Jones, and like Julio Jones is the guy who catches the ball. So like it was really interesting to be like, and I think it was something where like Okudah like switched off Julio because he was sent in motion or something. But maybe that is like, you know, just Okudah getting acclimated to the NFL, and you know being able to watch NFL tape, I'm sure, is a lot different than watching college tape. So, you know, hopefully this is a confidence booster for them. Chris, do you have something you want to chime in with?
No, I've said all I've got on the defense at this point. I think I want to also talk about the road ahead. So I don't know if you guys have more notes about
let's get to
defense. But yeah, so
I have one more note about this game.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, let's go.
We haven't talked about Matt Prater. And I
thought I talked about him earlier. I could be wrong.
I think we need to talk more about Matt Prater, because all of Lions Twitter is like slowly turning on Matt Prater for some reason. Like all of a sudden, like the kicking position is something that Lions Twitter wants to reevaluate. Like I had people saying like, can Jack Fox just kick field goals? Or I'm not kidding. Like this is something where like people are so blinded by the fact that like Prater misses a 47-yard field goal. Like it's no chip shot by any mean. Like a 47-yard field goal, you want to see him make that. But I mean, he hits the clutch kicks when you need him to hit big field goals. He gets that field goal.
Clutch.
Yeah, he hits that field goal right before the half to put the Lions within striking distance. It's all of a sudden a 14-10 game now. And then that extra point, when it got pushed back because of the Danny Amendola penalty, that was right in the same range as the field goal that he missed. And you know what? He wasn't shook by it at all. He went up there and he freaking drilled it. Matt Prater hit 2 of 3 field goals today, 2 of them being 50-yard field goals. And that was the problem that everybody had. Yeah. Like everybody was like, well, Prater can't hit any 50-yard field goals. He's missed all of his this year. Well, he goes out, he does that. He misses 1 field goal. And all of a sudden, now we need to completely reevaluate the kicker position. If he hits his next 8 field goals, which is nothing like out of the realm of possibility, he's right back at his career percentage, which is 83%.
Lions fans aren't spoiled about a lot of things, but they're spoiled about kickers. Absolutely.
Big time. Yeah. Big time. That's such a good point, Jeremy.
And Prater's a lot of the reason why they're spoiled to it, which makes it weird for it. But like I'm just thinking around the rest of the league, like today on this Sunday we're recording on week 7, we saw 2 games lost because of missed field goals from, I believe,
Titans.
The Titans with Steven Gostkowski, and I'm just trying to remember who the Panthers kicker is. Do we?
But that was a 65-yarder, so you might give him a little bit of.
Fair, fair, but still, like all I'm saying is like everyone wants to run the kicker out of town the minute they miss the first field goal. So I'm not surprised a little bit, but I mean I saw people talk about Prater like this was like Chicago that one year where Nagy was losing his mind and demanding everyone kick from the distance where they lost that field goal in the playoffs the one year. I don't understand it. I don't think he's washed. And guess what? Sometimes kickers just miss field goals. It's going to happen. I'm sorry. Like I know he missed one earlier in the season too, and maybe that's got people riled up and spelling doom and gloom with the rest of the team right now, but I mean, I'm not burying Prater. You're asking him to go out there and kick pretty long field goals almost every time, and more often than not, he does pretty damn well, man.
Amen.
So. All right, I want to look ahead a little bit because, as I said, we're in the stretch of the schedule that eases up a little bit. There's no more bye week though, so you got to be a little worried about that. But Colts are coming up, and then after that, the Vikings, and then after that, the Washington football team, and who are going to remain the Washington football team into 2021, which I think is a fantastic idea, by the way. It should remain football team forever. How are we? Has this game made you feel more confident about the Lions, or maybe even less confident? Because as much as there was a win here, as much as Stafford came in the clutch, I keep using the words Jekyll and Hyde to describe this game because there was a lot of points where the Lions were making their own self-inflicted errors. And as we've seen in the past, they don't always get to recover from those. And I think the luck is with them in that the Colts are just, I know they're 4-2, but it feels like a weird Fugazi 4-2.
Yeah.
But they are coming off a bye, and
Yep.
Minnesota is bad.
Right.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't come away from this game feeling much different about the Lions at all, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, we still saw some of the same offensive struggles that we've seen in the past. The one thing that maybe gives me a little bit of confidence going forward is that consistent run defense now in 2 straight weeks. All that we were saying last week is like, wow, that run defense came out of nowhere. Is it for real? Well, now we have another, data point, and it's looking pretty good. So that I'm positive about. In terms of this Colts team, I don't know what to think about them. We saw the Lions come out of the bye week with a really strong game plan against Jacksonville. Colts are going to have 2 weeks to plan for this game, so you never know what's going to happen out of that one. I have questions about Phillip Rivers at this point in his career, but that's a really, really good defense. So we're gonna have to see a back-to-back really good performance from Matthew Stafford to hang with that team, and they can run the ball. So I know they don't have Marlon Mack because of injury, but it's an interesting matchup. But in terms of what I feel about this Lions team before I did 24 hours ago, it's not that much different. It's a tiny bit more confidence in their defense, and that's it.
Ryan?
Yeah, I'm pretty much lock and step with Jeremy. I think the biggest takeaway from this game specifically is that run defense. I think the Lions were able to bottle up a really good running back, and I know that Craig Robinson had been playing pretty well for Jacksonville, but he was bound to maybe have like an undrafted rookie game. So I think we had reason for caution with that performance last week. But this week it was against Todd Gurley, and he's been playing pretty well so far this season. I mean, he's been averaging well over 4 yards a carry, and he was held to very minimal game, and I think it really played a part in Atlanta's game plan. I don't know if they would have run that ball on 4th and whatever when Trey Flowers broke up that pass from Matt Ryan. Maybe they would have felt more confidence in Todd Gurley, but they didn't have the opportunity to use Gurley like I thought they were going to try to do. And the Lions stepped up to the plate. Now, next week, maybe you kind of run into your biggest challenge so far in terms of running the football since the Jacksonville game, because you got the rookie from Wisconsin for Indy, and you got a pretty good offensive line led by one of my favorite big dudes, Quentin Nelson. So that's gonna be an interesting battle.
Yeah, and when it comes to, Jeremy talks about the strength in the run defense, you don't need to stop much running coming from Indianapolis. Like Jonathan Taylor, I know, had a 100-yard game against the Vikings, but we've kind of since learned the Vikings are trash.
Yeah.
Against the Bengals, he only had 60 yards on 12 carries. Against the Bears, he had 68 yards on 17 carries. Against the Jets, he only had 57. Wrong box score there. 59 yards on 13 carries. Like, he's not averaging very well. He's lucky if he averages around like 4.5 yards a carry, and they're just not using him that much. They are leaning on their passing game. So this is going to be a test for your secondary. It's going to be a test for your linebackers. It's going to be a test for your pass rush. It's going to be a test for things that the Lions have been kind of middling about with their defense. We'll see.
Yeah, and I mean, Phillip Rivers to me is just like, he's been so inconsistent. We've seen those kind of like ugly Phillip Rivers games. Through 2 interceptions against the Browns, through 2 interceptions against Jacksonville. But then he has a 3-touchdown, 1 interception game against Cincy where he throws for almost 400 yards, has a passer rating of over 100. And I don't know. I still don't think Phillip Rivers is a good quarterback at this point in his career. I think he deserves a lot of praise and was probably underrated earlier in his career, but should be an interesting matchup. I don't know how it goes.
I think I could see this kind of similar to the Arizona game in that you can probably rattle Phillip Rivers and get him to beat himself. So that should give you a little bit of confidence, because we've seen when the Lions do get takeaways, they do seem to put themselves in some decent positions. But yeah, I don't know. That's a pretty big if. I'm going to be interested to see on our first bite how that, where those questions come up, how those get resolved on how badly can you rattle Phillip Rivers, because I don't think he's had, he's played what, 5 games, and he's had interceptions in 3 of them.
Yeah, the thing about Rivers is that his arm strength just really looks like it's kind of on its last leg at this point. Yeah, it's
6 games.
It's just,
I'm sorry, I missed a game in there, but
I don't want to put too much stock in him beating up on the Bengals because, I mean, did you see what Baker Mayfield did today? He started off 0-5 with an INT, and then he finished 22 of 23 for 297 yards and 5 touchdowns.
Wow.
The only incompletion was a spike to stop the clock.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And the one thing everyone looked at this Colts team when they were 3-1 and like, wow, look at that defense. Looks really amazing. But now you look back on the schedule and it looks a little okay. So they only held the Vikings to 11 points. The Vikings have struggled offensively pretty much all season. They held the Jets to 7 points. They held the Bears to 11 points. Now we're just talking about bad offenses. So
the only good team they've beaten on here is probably the Bears, if we're being honest.
Yeah, but again, they won that game, a 19-11 game. Not exactly an impressive looking win necessarily. So I know we're talking about the Colts a lot, and we'll have our preview podcast later in the week. But it's a winnable game. I think you're going to see we've mentioned plenty before. The next 6 probably are still very winnable. You got at Minnesota after this, Washington, Panthers team that might be a little bit better than we thought. Texans team that's not very good. Even the Bears game in Chicago, I think you might circle as a game the Lions could potentially win.
Real quick, because we're almost 25 minutes in this thing. We need to wrap up. But I would say to wrap up this segment, looking at where the Packers and the Bears are in the standings right now, and given where the NFC is panned out, like how likely has this game helped the Lions when it comes to their ultimate goal of making the playoffs? Or is it just still I'm just looking at every NFC West team has at least 4 wins right now. Your salvation at the NFC East sucks, but it's going to be an uphill battle even in the North because both the Bears and the Packers have 5 wins as of this recording. Bears could have 6 by Monday.
I'm not doing the playoff thing. At least for another 3 weeks.
Playoffs?
There's no reason to be talking about the playoffs with this team.
Good. I like where your head's
whatsoever.
at. Good.
I'm going to do it. I don't care.
Oh, no.
Why not? Don't roll your eyes at me. All right, so this is all about the wild card. Let's be clear here. The Packers won in a convincing fashion. Their one loss isn't a sign of decline. The Bucs are just really good. So let's take the Bucs out of the equation, the Packers out of the equation. Let's say the Seahawks win their division handily. So now we're talking about the wild card teams. Don't have to worry about the NFC East. You got the Bears, Lions, Saints, Panthers, I guess, Cardinals, Rams. So what is that? It's about 6 or 7 teams. The Lions just need to be in the top 3.
3 spots available.
Lions need to be in the top 3 of that. I think the Saints are a tough one, especially with a loss to them. I think the Rams might be a tricky one. Rams are a game ahead of the Lions right now. The Cardinals, though, Lions got the tiebreaker on them. That could be big. And then Panthers, I don't know. We'll see who I don't know who the Panthers are yet. And Bears, I don't know. That game in Chicago could be huge, real big.
I think the Bears are kind of real. Like I know their quarterback isn't great, but I've been picking against them every week, and I keep looking. I'm like, these are teams they should lose to, and they just refuse to die. Like maybe the Rams finally do them in by the time you're listening to this podcast, but I don't know. I think if nothing else, the Rams, the Bears' schedule is very favorable to them.
Yeah, I've been saying for weeks that the Bears are absolutely fraudulent, and their next stretch of 5 games is going to absolutely expose them. So
there you go.
But I've been saying that for several weeks, man.
The right way. Let's get things started off the right way with this loss to the Rams, and then everything else will be downhill from there.
All right, I think we're going to end it there. We've gone really long on this podcast. Thank you all for sticking with us. It's been a super edition here. And I think probably in the future, we might have to figure out a way to chop these up a little bit just because I know we go really long, but you guys want that content. Once again, Download the podcast, twitch.tv/Pride of Detroit when we're live. I am Chris Raffett. That's Jeremy Reisman. That's Ryan Matthews. And we will see you Starside. Okay, let me get Craig to get the bleep out of here.
And Chad, I want you to stick around and answer the poll question. Are the Bears for real? Right now, 11% of you, which is literally only one vote, says yes.
Oh, wow. Asking Lions fans if they think
Hey!
the divisional opponent is for real.
You don't. Okay, so you don't respect our Twitch chat. Wow. I can't believe he admitted that in front of you. Wow. Wow,
Being
chat.
the heel, man. I'm being the heel.
Capital D colons in the chat, please.
Hold on one second. I gotta turn on some lights because I'm looking really bright.
I want to see, because we keep on talking about the Bears' upcoming schedule. I know it's like a gauntlet, but I mean, can we go through that real quick?
Yeah. I'm going to pull it up on the screen real quick. Let's look at this Bears schedule. I will just keep it. We'll just put it over
that
all
seemed
of
to
us.
make it. That seemed to make it worse. Holy crap! I need to
zoom
figure out
in.
the white balance on my phone.
So Bears Rams Monday night.
Yep.
Hold on one second.
Then they have to play the Saints.
Yep.
Then they have to play the Titans.
Mm-hmm.
The Vikings seems like it could be a layup, but then they have the Packers. So like their next 5 games, I mean that's a tough stretch. Like I think for them to stay like in position for the wild card, they have to at least go 2-3 in those 5 games.
I don't know. Like, then you look at weeks 13 to 16, Lions, Texans, Vikings, Jacksonville. Like, if they win those 4 games alone and lose every single game remaining on the schedule, they're already at 9 wins. That might be enough.
I think one of those. I think you lose one of those 3 games between the Texans, Vikings, and Jaguars.
Yeah.
I think one of those games ends up being a loss. Like the Texans, they got trounced by the Packers, but pretty much everyone's gotten trounced by the Packers except for I really want to know what happened in that Tampa Bay game. Why did Tampa Bay walk all over Green Bay like that?
Yeah.
Just got him at the right matchup for that. Like it's like every now and then the I mean, hate to say it, but those games where they get like an opponent where it's just like, wow, how the hell did the Lions do that to them?
No,
And then
I
it never
mean,
happens again.
it happened earlier in the year with the Raiders too. Like the Raiders had that super convincing win over the Saints, but then they just
Raiders
got
did it to
absolutely
the Chiefs. Yeah,
they got absolutely throttled tonight by the Buccaneers.
yeah. Or like, you know, I hate bring it up. Patricia's first year. Like, how the hell did he do that to the Patriots?
Yeah, wild.
So.
My buddy, how am I not myself, really does not like the playoff talk. Definitely does not believe in the Lions, and understandable. But you know what?
Yeah, he asked me
I'm
to roll
gonna do
my
it for
eyes
fun.
again.
I'm gonna do it for fun. I don't care.
Jeremy, I think you should refer to the Pride of Detroit Slack chat, specifically the Pride of Detroit channel, where we can kind of big up some people who got the trifecta from Pride of Detroit.
Oh, we got 2 on the list, huh?
Oh, you know what? I didn't pick. It's all because I don't pick that damn.
I got them all wrong. What do I get?
No, I had Detroit and Detroit plus 2. I just don't pick the totals. I really need to start picking totals.
You gotta start picking totals. Totals are fun. I hit the trifecta Twitch chat. I had Detroit wins, Detroit plus 2, and under 54.5. I knew that it was going to be a low scoring game.
Yeah, but so did
that it was
Alex.
gonna be a low
Like,
scoring game.
if you're in the same company as Alex, did you really get anything right?
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yes, brother man.
All right, I'm gonna go make a HelloFresh meal.
Nice.
So I'm gonna get on out of here.
I think I am as
Of
well.
it.
That was a long stream, guys. I've been on stream all day. I need to do some writing. You guys probably want to watch the Sunday night game.
Yeah, my throat hurts a lot.
I
would like to
10
hang
to 7
around.
game.
I would like to hang around with Twitch chat, but I know Jeremy's like running the stream right now.
I gotta.
So.
If you guys want to continue to chat, I'm sure Chris would be more than welcome to have you all in one of our voice channels on our Discord page. If you don't.
Yeah, and if not, I might just go make dinner here. I'm kind of tired. I need to do some writing too, but I'd like to try to, like, I don't know. It's something we probably need to talk about, Jeremy, about running some stuff. I'd like to, do some more because like these guys seem to always be hungry for shit.
But yep, I think
more
that's
podcasts during the week. We had some fun with that mailbag podcast
True.
this week. I think.
and we might do that again, y'all. And we'll discuss all that after we close out here. So until then,
I'm already getting told to go to bed. Like I've been up since like 6 p.m. yesterday. So.
All right. Well, enjoy Sunday Night Football, guys. If you want, head over to Super Squares where they're still doing some live coverage. I'll be over there probably Monday night. That'll be a lot of fun. But until then, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all the gifted subs, all that sort of stuff. Football!
Football.
Good night.
Football.